With the June 2nd provincial election coming up, we're expecting the campaign to officially get underway likely tomorrow. Now, regardless, the promises have already started rolling out. So with a look at what we're already hearing from party leaders and what to expect over the next 4 weeks or so, we're joined live by the Toronto GM of HK Canada, Lindsay Finneran-Gingras. Thanks again for joining us, Lindsay. So interesting to see things a couple days before the campaign officially gets underway. Justin Trudeau standing side by side with Premier Doug Ford. He wants to get another kick at the can, as it were, as leader of the province. That's a pretty big boost, having a prime minister next to you just days before the campaign really gets underway.
Yeah, you have to imagine Del Duca's team was less than thrilled having their Liberal Prime Minister stand right side by side with Doug Ford. But, you know, that's not unusual before a campaign to start getting out and start announcing spending. And that's the power of being in government, is you get to go out and you get to announce spending pre-campaign.
Speaking of getting out and making announcements, Stephen Del Duca and, of course, Andrew Horwath and Mike Schreiner are all doing the same thing. But Del Duca's really going in on affordability, not unlike what we're seeing from the Ford campaign at this point, you know, talking about affordability when it comes to, you know, meals under $20, taking the HST off that, but also a big announcement yesterday about transit, really focusing on that, basically offering buck a ride for the next couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, like, really nicely packaged policy announcements, right? People are really distracted in their lives. Obviously, COVID dominates the news. So how do you sort of break through in that environment? Buck a ride has a nice slogan to it, and people like the idea of spending just $1 on any sort of transit. So, you know, whether that's economically feasible, that's for the other parties to sort of pick apart. But it's a really great headline. And look, the news is talking about it yesterday. They're talking about it today, and they'll continue to talk about it. So I think really strong way to enter the campaign.
And it's interesting, right? Because, of course, the Liberals were reduced to not even party status, only 7 seats. Stephen Del Duca doesn't even have a seat. He lost his in the last provincial campaign. So Andrea Horwath, who is currently the official opposition leader, she's trying to make a breakthrough now. She's talking a lot about healthcare, hiring more nurses, sort of spending on that side of things. How is Andrea Horwath, you know, the focus on her campaign? Because she's, I believe this is her 4th campaign as leader of the New Democrats.
Yeah, and she has an interesting battle, right? So I saw some of the NDP ads are sort of going after both Doug Ford and Del Duca. That Del Duca's Kathleen Wynne's man, and Doug Ford, you can't trust him, so then you can trust Andrea. But then the question is, you know, she's been here for the last decade, and what has she done? So they have an interesting challenge in front of them. She is very likable, and I think that's what they rely on, that she comes across well and she campaigns well.
And Lindsay, you just brought up sort of digital, and I know that's a lot of what you focus on is, you know, digital ads, digital campaigning, and that sort of thing. What are you seeing in this pre-writ period now, and what do you expect to see in the first week or so of the campaign when it comes to ads and digital ads more specifically?
So, you know, before I came on, I did a close scan. It looks like the Liberals and NDP, in terms of Facebook, which is where you can most easily see where digital advertising is kicked off, have put new ads into market as of Monday, and I imagine are going to ramp up the spending. The PCs haven't. I imagine they're advertising on different channels right now, but you're going to see them probably hold back some of their spending power until they really are in the heat of the campaign. They have a nice sizable war chest, and they've also built up a lot of data from previous campaigns. So I think you're going to see out of the gate a lot from Del Duca and a lot for Andrea Horwath, because they're fighting against the incumbent, and you run a different race when you're the incumbent.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see how, of course, it all unfolds, and I'm sure we'll likely be speaking to you between now and, of course, June the 2nd. That is Lindsay Finneran-Gingras, the Toronto GM of HK Canada. Thanks again, Lindsay. Appreciate the time.